right, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Texarkana, Texas City Council. Today is Monday, April the 22nd, 2024. I'd like to welcome all of you in the audience this evening. We have a lot of youth in our audience this evening, so we thank you all for being here, and I'm sure several parents are here as well. We have an exciting presentation coming up shortly about some activities taking place with TISD. And at this time, I'll call on our City Secretary, Ms. Jennifer Evans, to provide a roll call. Ms. Evans?
Ms. Matlock? Here. Mr. Metter?
Here.
Ms. Hart? Here. Ms. Williams? Ms. Page?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
All right, we do have 5 of the 6 council members here this evening, and so therefore, unless Ms. Williams comes in shortly, then I will be voting on all matters that come before the council this evening. Our invocation and pledge will be led by Councilmember Mary Hart. If everyone will please stand. Thank you very much. You may be seated. We do have 2 special presentations on tap this evening. Our first presentation will be reference to the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report and Single Audit Report for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2023. And this report will be given by Mr. David Coleman, and he's with the Forvis LLP and CPA. So, Mr. Coleman, welcome this evening. We're glad to have you with us and look forward to your report, sir.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Mayor, members of the City Council, I'm very pleased to be here tonight to provide a few highlights to the 2023 audit. So we're going to talk about a few financial highlights, kind of our audit scope, and some future pronouncements. So as far as the ACFR, it's 225 pages long. This is kind of a breakdown of the sections here. There's a letter of transmittal, an org chart, and then it goes into your financial statements and some required disclosures. So as far as the financial performance of the city, a very good year. Overall, the general fund increased fund balance, $3 million. Ending unassigned fund balance was $18 million, or about 43% of your budgeted expenditures. So overall, that is a very healthy fund balance for the year. I think the GFOA recommends 20 to 25%. So you did exceed that. As far as TWU, the operating revenues did increase by about $3 million year over year, and the current year change on the Texarkana, Texas side was approximately $3 million. Your pension plans continue to be adequately funded. As you'll see, they're hovering between 75% funded and 88% funded, so very well managed. No issues at all with your pensions being funded. You do have an OPEB plan. Your OPEB plan, you provide retiree benefits to retirees. That liability is $15.2 million compared to $14 million last year. The only way to whittle that down is for the city to put money aside into a trust. Certainly not recommending that, but it is a large liability on there. So again, it represents what the city pays for retiree health insurance. As far as our audit scope, we did issue unmodified clean opinions on your financial statements, your report on internal control over compliance, and your compliance. So you are a governmental entity, of course. You do receive federal dollars, so we do have to issue a single audit report. We audited the CDBG program, Homeland Security, and Highway Planning. We did not find any issues with those 3 programs. As far as our required communication, you did adopt 2 standards in the current year, GASB 94. That did not have an impact on the city, and GASB 96 had a minimal impact on the city, but it did require some additional work from staff. As far as management's judgments and accounting estimates, there's estimates within your financial statements. It's not 100% known. You know, there's those pension liabilities we just discussed, the OPEB liabilities. We did audit those and did not find any issues. Again, sensitive financial statement disclosures, your contingent liabilities, your OPEB, and your pension liabilities that we have discussed. We did not encounter any audit adjustments as far as our audit goes throughout the audit. So again, GASB 96 was the new standard that we did implement this year. So future pronouncements, there's one for next year, GASB 101. It kind of changes or codifies the way that you account for compensated absences. I don't think it'll have a significant impact on the city itself. I just want to say, you all know that there was an incident in 2020. The city has been behind for the past 3 years trying to get caught up. I'm very happy to tell you that you are completely caught up now. So you're up to date on all your federal audits, your financial statement audits. So the gold standard in governmental accounting is to be able to issue your ACFR within 6 months of year end, and we did issue that within 6 months of year end. So I could not be more pleased where you are at right now with your finance staff. You know, I appreciate everybody from the city manager down to everyone in the accounting department for helping us get to where we are. We pushed them, they pushed us, and we were able to achieve success and get your audit issued on time. So with that being said, happy to answer any questions.
Council have any questions for Mr. Coleman in reference to the report or the audit? Okay, well, I just want to echo your comments as well about our finance staff and Dr. Orr, Kristen, and all those employees within the city who do an incredible job, and this is just another example of that great work. And so, Kristen, commend you and your staff as well, and anybody that was a part of this audit review, thank those staff members as well. So, very well-deserved credit. So, all right. Anything else, sir?
No, have a good evening.
Okay, all right. Thank you,
Thanks.
sir. Appreciate your comments. At this time, move along to our second presentation this evening. It's in reference to the Texarkana ISD Student Space Flight Experiments Program. And this will be featured by students from Morris Elementary School and headed up by Ms. Lauren Pilgreen and Brandy Davenport. I think they'll be providing information this evening, and so we're looking forward to learning more about what's going on with Morris Elementary and TISD. I will share a footnote with you. Texarkana ISD is one of 37 communities in 3 countries, which include the U.S., the Ukraine, and Canada, participating in this year's SSEP program. The program allows students to design and propose actual microgravity experiments conducted aboard the International Space Station. So at this time, I'll turn it over to you all, and thank you for being here this evening.
I just wanted to make sure that you were going to be able to see them okay. I think you're okay. Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing our students to be here today. I'm Lauren Pilgreen, principal at Morris Elementary, and our students have a fabulous presentation for you, and I'm going to let them take it from here.
First off, we would like to thank everyone in the City Council for allowing us to be here today. My name is Isaac Steele.
My name is Lizzie LeGrone.
My name is Cooper Wood.
And my name is Lindley Galloway. First, we would like to explain what SSEP is. As Mr. Bob said, he said SSEP stands for Student Spaceflight Experiment Program. And in this program, 5th through 8th graders join a contest, and you research a topic, you then write a paper over it. And then you'll send it in to a panel of judges where they'll judge it, and they'll choose a winner, and those winners go through a process. And we will talk about that on the next slide.
This is the process of our project. Our first step was getting the main idea of what we wanted to do. We had our first two ideas were over cellulite and but those didn't really have the effects on astronauts that we wanted. So we went with our third idea, concrete. This had the effects on astronauts that we wanted because they could have a place to stay on the moon and store all their findings. Our last part of this project was getting a tube. This is the tube of what they'll send on the space station. We'll use 2 clips instead of this one. Well, so far we're putting 2 on this tube with 1 for each ingredient, sand, water, and cement.
There are 2 ways that it could have an effect on future space travel. The first way is concrete could come back hardened in the same durability as it is on Earth, and this could lead to us being able to make a foundation on the moon or someday Mars. And the other way it could come back is soft or still in liquid form, and this would let the astronauts know that they would have to make a new material that is really like concrete for space.
Now we're going to talk about why we chose this type of concrete. So we chose normal strength concrete because this is one of the most commonly used concretes on Earth, and it's one of the strongest. So we decided that if we were able to use this on the moon or Mars, then we would know that our most commonly used concrete would be able to work anywhere in microgravity.
After we submitted our project, we got chosen to launch our project to space. We had to make it, but after we got chosen, we had to make a few adjustments to our writing and how we sent our tube to space. After we finished those adjustments at the on the document, we made 3 test subjects on how we could improve. Our first one is 1 part cement, 2 parts sand, and 2 part water. Our second one was 1 part cement, 2 parts sand, and one part water. But the best one that we chose was 1 part cement, 3 parts sand, and 1 part water.
There are many things we have learned from SSCP, but the 2 main things we have learned is you always have to be kind and sweet to your team because it requires a lot of collaboration, and you need to have a good team structure because it takes a lot of hard work. And the other thing we have learned is that you have to keep going even if you have to start over. Since we had to start over 2 times, and on the 3rd time we got concrete. So don't get discouraged if you have to start over. Some advice I would have for future students that is doing SSCP is if you get stuck on trying to get your project, think about the most commonly used stuff on Earth and choose one to send to microgravity.
If there are any questions, we would gladly answer them.
Well, first of all, Mr. Bob wants to share with you that your organizational skills and your presentation skills are perfect. Y'all did an excellent job with your presentation, and I can tell that there was a lot of preparation put into this, and it certainly shows. So I'll just defer to the council. Does anyone in the council have a question or comment in reference to the presentation that's been made? Mr. Davis?
So has your work made any of you desire to go to space yourself?
I don't think it's made any of us want to go to space.
All right.
It's a long way. That's, for one thing.
So I have a question.
Ms. Matlock?
Are you guys prepared to do it again next year in 6th grade?
Yes, we have some sort of idea of what we're learning this year.
Okay.
Okay, well, we certainly commend you for doing this and coming here and spending time with us this evening, sharing the great work that you're doing. And we look forward to hearing back as far as once this experiment actually goes through and reporting back to us maybe the findings of what took place. We would look forward to hearing about that as well. So just appreciate the great work that you're doing at Morris Elementary. You all are a STEM school in our community, do a lot of great work there, and so we commend you for that. And thanks again for being here this evening, and best of luck to you with your studies. Any final remarks you all would like to make?
We would like to give a special thanks to Miss Wood for consulting with the group, and ETTL engineers and consultants for donating supplies.
Very good. All right. We'll give them a round of applause. That cement may come in handy on Mars. There may be some potholes, on the surface there, so that will come in handy. So once again, thank you all very much. Hope you have a great evening. You're welcome to stay. Those of you with students and parents, you're welcome to stay throughout our meeting. However, if you have assignments or places that you need to be shortly, you are certainly welcome to leave at your leisure. So once again, we thank you all for being here this evening and sharing that great presentation. This time I'll move along to Mayor's remarks and items of community interest. We have a lot of activities coming up in the community. Our next regularly scheduled council meeting will be on May the 13th. As a reminder, we'll just have one council meeting in the month of May. And Ms. Pilgreen, thank you once again. And Brandy, thank you all for being here. All right, thank you very much. Okay, all right. And then also our council meeting during the month of June will be on Monday, June the 10th at 6 p.m. In reference to parks and recreation activities, in April events, April 27th, the community yard sale and electronic recycling, which will be held at 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Spring Lake Park. On April the 27th is the TYSA softball tournament at Carr Park. April the 27th is the Zumba in the park from 10 to 11 at Spring Lake Park. The May events for May 4th, Alzheimer's Alliance on the 9th. May 4th, the 9th, I guess that's the 9th annual Alzheimer's Alliance at Spring Lake Park. And also that'll be the annual Texarkana Wine Festival, which has really grown into a very, very large event. We have literally thousands of people who come to Texarkana for that particular event, and we're very proud of that. May the 4th, First Choice Pregnancy Center Walk for Life will be at Spring Lake Park. On May the 11th, Hands on Texarkana, our annual Dragon Boat races, and that will be held at Bringle Lake Park West. Additional parks and recreation information can be found on the city's website or by calling the city. Other spring events, April the 30th will be the Total Health and Wellness Expo at 9 a.m. until 6 p.m., and that will be held at the Texarkana, Texas Convention Center. And then on May the 3rd through the 5th will be the Hobie Bass Open Series Kayak Fishing Tournament, and that'll be held at Lake Wright-Patman. And then on May the 4th, the Farmers Market opening day will start at 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. And once again, the Farmers Market is now located at 500 North State Line Avenue in the vicinity of the downtown Federal Courthouse and Post Office building in downtown Texarkana. As a reminder, the Joint City Regional Airport meeting will be held this week. The City Council will meet with the Texarkana, Arkansas Board of Directors on Wednesday, April the 24th, to receive an update on matters related to the airport's new terminal construction progress, a preview of its upcoming budget cycle, and the capital improvement plan. The joint meeting will be held at the Artex Council of Governments building located at 4808 Elizabeth Street, Texarkana, Texas. The meeting will begin at 3 p.m. and it is open to the public. So hopefully, Council, you all could make that into your schedule for this week at 3 o'clock on the 24th. Now move along to our open forum comments from the public. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to address the Council this evening, you're welcome to do so. You will have up to 5 minutes to speak on any topic. If you're here, however, this evening to speak on behalf of one of our public hearing items, then I'll ask if you'll wait until we get to that particular item. We'll be more than happy to listen to your comments at that time. We also ask that you complete one of these sheets that can be found near the back entry doors or exit doors. And I do have one sheet that's been filled out by Mr. Keith E. Cotton. And Mr. Cotton would like to address the council in reference to jazz music in the park, more specifically Spring Lake Park. So Mr. Cotton, if you'll please come forward to the podium. And if you don't mind, if you will please state your name for the record. And we're glad to have you with us this evening. And you will have 5 minutes to speak. So once again, thank you for being here.
Yes, good evening. My name is Keith E. Cotton. I'm a lifelong resident of Texarkana. I live at 332 Belt Road. And my concern, my issue, I did a Jazz in the Park last night, and we had a good turnout, but, and I did it on my funds to let you know that how serious I am about doing this. And I'm just here to ask if there's some way the city and I could get together and gather some funds to continue to do at least through September, that we can also grow this into what it can be, and I know that it can draw from all over. I am fellowshipping with a young lady in Little Rock, Miss Verda Brown. She does the Jazz Fest in Little Rock. And also I have a friend in Shreveport that I fellowship with and work with, and they do the Jazz Fest, Jazz and Gumbo in Shreveport, Louisiana. We do have an audience for this particular type music, more so mature people who would enjoy a nice evening out and to carry on and to help build and bring in people. So I just want to let you know that I appreciate on last night that we did in Spring Lake Park, but there was the issues as far as the darkness. It's a lot of when the stage is lit up and you're looking out, it's a lot of darkness, and we probably could put some more lights out there. So if that continues to stay where the stage is going to be, I heard there's going to be some improvements. So we just want to work with that and be able to build, and that we can build it into the big festival that we know it could become. So I do appreciate it on last night. And again, trusting you guys, the mayor and the council, to help us with some funding, because we would like to do it again, and you'll see it grow, I promise you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cotton. We appreciate you doing that last night, and feel free to visit with the staff about that. They'll be glad to discuss that with you, and so glad you did that. I like jazz music. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening? All right, if not, we'll move along to our appointments to boards and commissions and committees. Do we have any appointments to be made or reappointments this evening? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move along to items for consideration. We do have one item on the consent agenda. Item 1 is to consider approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of the City Council held on March the 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. And is there a motion for approval? The minutes were contained in your packet, so is there a motion for approval of the consent agenda item? We have a motion by Councilmember Matlock and a second by Councilmember Page. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. The consent agenda has been approved. We'll now move along to our action items. We do have two action items this evening. Item 2, joint resolution number 2024-048 with the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, supporting the fiscal year 2024 Consolidated Rail Infrastructure and Safety Improvements, CRISI, grant application for Union Station redevelopment. And we'll have discussion on this item, some information provided by Vachille Fernandez, our city staff, and we'll take action on this item this evening. So good evening, Vachille.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As mentioned, this is a joint support for this 2024 fiscal year. This application is for the grant called Chrissy Grant with the Department of Transportation. And so over a month ago, they did a notification of funding opportunity for a little over $2 million for funding. And so we've partnered with the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, and we're working in partnership with Amtrak to submit an application towards the acquisition of Union Station, as well as looking at preliminary engineering and design for that project. And so we brought to the council today just this letter of support to include in our application. I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have.
Any questions for Vashil on this item? I think it's certainly a great opportunity to restore one of our city icons, the train station. That's part of our history, part of our beginning. It's very unique that the state line travels through that particular building as well, and so I think those improvements are certainly warranted, and this looks like a very, very good project. Any questions or comments from the council? Okay, very good. Thank you, Vashil. Appreciate the information on that. So we need to take action on this item this evening. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Davis. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Page. This item pertains to a resolution, so there is not a caption. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The resolution passes unanimously. Also, our next action item, Vashil will also provide information to us on that item. Item 3, resolution number 2024-049, approving the amendment of the CDBG 2023 Annual Action Plan. Vashil?
Thank you, Mayor. So this is it's a resolution to amend our annual action plan, or CDBG annual action plan. And part of the stipulation is whenever we make a substantial amendment, which is anything over 50,000, we have to get a resolution for amending the annual action plan. And I've included in your packet some of that information of why we had to amend the plan. Was we had a particular project that we wanted to work on, but based on ruling from HUD, we were not able to use those funds for those projects. So we had to reorganize and refocus and change where we're putting some of those funding. And so as you can, if you look at what's in front of you right now, you'll see some of the projects that we're going to use those funding to do, working on some community gardens. We're going to work on some public buildings, as well as work with Randy Sams to do some repairs to their buildings as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Any questions for Vashil on this particular item?
Mayor, if I could just add.
Yes, David.
At the last meeting, there was a discussion about Beverly Park Road, if y'all recall, and there's floodplain issues, and so that's it. Part of your packet is the information from HUD denying that request for the use of these funds for Beverly Park Road. However, as a staff, we have looked at internally funding that from our maintenance budget. So I just want to kind of add that as an update to this, is that even though it's taken out of the HUD plan for community development block grant funds, we do plan to address that road internally with city funds.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that point there, David. Anything else, Vashil?
That's it.
Okay. Any questions from the council in reference to this item for Vashil? Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate the information. All right. At this time, is there a motion for approval of the resolution? So moved. We have a motion by Councilmember Hart. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Davis. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right. So the resolution passes. We'll note in the record, Councilmember Page had to step out and was absent on the vote, so still had a quorum to represent voting on the item. This time, move along to our first briefings. Item number 1 is ordinance number 2024-042, amending section 12-3 of the Code of Ordinances to designate single polling locations for each city election precinct ward to align with polling places utilized by Bowie County. We'll have a public hearing on this item, as well as the other items that we're going to be covering tonight under first briefings category, public hearing and council vote at our next meeting that is scheduled for Monday, May the 13th. Our city attorney, Mr. Jeff Lewis, is going to brief the council on this item. Good evening, Mr. Lewis.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Each of the 6 city wards has a designated single polling place to use when the city conducts a city-wide and city-only election. Typically, the city is contracted with Bowie County for general elections. For the last 2 years, the county has utilized, successfully, county-wide voting, giving our voters a choice of over 20 vote centers throughout the county. The county's site selection process, according to the materials provided in the packet and from the county, included factors such as the number of registered voters around the centers, the voter familiarity with the centers, the ease of access, which included analysis of parking and ADA compliance, and space requirements to include space for staffing, equipment needs, and also voter privacy. With one exception, the single ward polling places that we have currently did not align with these vote centers. So staff review prompted the thought of, to reduce voter confusion in having two different polling locations depending upon what election might be called, and to promote the voter convenience, the staff is recommending aligning our single polling locations in each ward with specific county-established vote centers. In your packet at page 99 and then going to page 100, you will find the listing of current locations and then the proposed changed locations which align with the vote centers with the county. The only one change, good timing, Councilmember Page, is Ward 4, which is not proposed for change since it is an existing facility that the city is currently using if we ever have a citywide election for that location. We don't use these city-only polling locations often. We do need to have them established in code. If memory serves, the last time we used a city-only polling location for a city-only election was the special election for Ward 6 a few years back, 4 years back, I believe. Questions, please?
Questions for Mr. Lewis on this item? Okay, all right. Thank you, Jeff. Item number 2 is ordinance number 2024-043, rezoning the north 250 feet of Lot 7, 8, 9, and 10, Block 2, Carrie D. Hart's First, located at 4001 New Boston Road, from commercial agriculture to commercial. FM Slack owner and Clint Head agent. And Michelle Daniels, city staff, will brief the council on this item. Good evening, Michelle.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So this is a request to rezone 4001 New Boston Road from commercial agriculture to commercial. The intended use is a service station. The future land use map has designated this property as regional commercial. The adjacent zoning is commercial to the north and east, agriculture to the west and the south. The adjacent land use is a grocery store north, a veterinary clinic to the east, and a vacant lot west and a residence to the south. Staff and Planning and Zoning recommend approval for this request, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Michelle? All right, very good. Moving along to item number 3, ordinance number 2024-044, amending PD 15-5 for site plan approval on Lot 6, Block 3, John T. Spears, First Edition, located at 3603 Texas Boulevard. Bradley and Sarah Berry owners. Michelle?
So good evening. This is a request for site plan approval at 3603 Texas Boulevard. The current zoning is planned development general retail, and the property is currently vacant. The proposed use is a certified public accounting office. The future land use map designates this property as neighborhood retail, and the adjacent zoning is planned development office to the north, south, and east, and single family to the west. The adjacent land use is residential to the north and west, and office to the south and east. The site plan consists of the construction of a 6,891 square foot building. The access driveway will be off of Texas Boulevard. There will be 27 parking spaces, a 5x6 monument-style sign, and a screen dumpster site. Staff and Planning and Zoning recommend for approval of this site plan, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions for Michelle with this item? Okay. Next item is item number 4, ordinance number 2024-045, approving a specific use permit to allow one additional use of a daycare on Lot 32, Block 2, Oaklawn Subdivision, located at 2201 North Aiken Avenue. Tamika King, owner. Michelle?
Again, so this is a request for a specific use permit to allow a daycare at 2201 North Aiken Avenue. The property is zoned single family 2. The future land use map has designated this property as mixed-use development, and the adjacent zoning is single-family 2 to the north, east, and south, and office to the west. The adjacent land uses is residential to the north, east, and south, and a pest control office to the west. A specific use permit is required to allow a daycare use in this zoning district. Staff and Planning and Zoning do recommend for approval of this request, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Michelle, on this project, do we have established yet, for example, hours of operation or days of the week yet, or not?
No, sir, we don't have that established yet.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Michelle on this item? Okay. Item number 5 is ordinance number 2024-046, amending PD-23-4 for the site plan approval on a 15.15 acre tract of land being tract 81, H.S. Janes Headright Survey A-306, located at 500 South Bishop Road. Russ Huckabee, owner. Jess Griffin, agent. Michelle?
So again, as you said, this is a request for site plan approval on 1000 South Bishop Road and north of Finley Street. The current zoning is planned development industrial 1, and the property is currently vacant property. The proposed use is a warehouse and a manufacturing plant. The future land use map designates this property as industrial. The adjacent zoning is planned development industrial 1 to the north, west, and east, and outside the city limits to the south. The adjacent land use is vacant land to the north, west, east, and south. The site plan consists of the construction of an 86,272 square foot building. The access driveway will be off South Bishop Road. There will be 102 parking spaces and a 5-foot by 8-foot monument style sign. A fire lane will be required and a screened dumpster site. Staff and Planning and Zoning recommend for approval of this site plan, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Michelle on this particular item? Okay. Our last item, thank you, Michelle. Appreciate the information. Item number 6 is ordinance number 2024-047, amending the Code of Ordinances by adding Article 9, door-to-door selling, to Chapter 28 of the Code of Ordinances. And this item will be briefed by, once again, our city attorney, Mr. Jeff Lewis. Mr. Lewis?
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Staff recommends adopting a proposed ordinance for newer and simpler door-to-door selling regulations. If approved, this would repeal some material that dates back to the late 1980s for itinerant merchants or vendors. This newer ordinance would have a no-fee online vendor registration with the city. That would be a requirement. The regulations would detail what citizens can do if they want, so that no one solicits at their door. And there are exceptions and limitations. Highlights to the exceptions include that this only applies to residential door-to-door selling for commercial purposes. This does not apply to salespersons calling upon places of business. This does not apply to school-sponsored events, non-commercial purposes, requesting donations to nonprofit organizations. Translation: Girl Scout cookies will still be safe. So will the Boy Scout popcorn. So staff recommends approval. Questions, please?
I've got one, Mr. Lewis. So I know that, I guess this has been now maybe a year and a half ago, we were blanketed by a group of people from outside the community who were going door to door soliciting for the selling of security systems. Is this addressed in any way with this matter?
If they're going door to door for commercial purposes, this ordinance is directly applicable.
Okay. Okay.
However, there's a special law for alarm systems. So we would hopefully invite the door-to-door alarm companies to register with us. I don't think this ordinance would require them to do so, since we're expressly exempting anything that would otherwise be contrary to Texas law.
Okay, well, the issue at hand is that, you know, these people were knocking on citizens' doors at 9, 9:30, and 10 o'clock at night. They were going back to residences who already had told them that they were not interested in their product. And, you know, to me, that's a form of harassment. And I know that our police department was involved in talking to some of these people. But, you know, I just have an issue with a group like that being pretty much exempt to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it at the expense of an inconvenience to our citizens. So I don't know how, if that's something that's addressed at the legislature level in Austin or how that's addressed, but it became a pretty significant problem when they came here about a year and a half ago. They were talked to, they totally ignored what they were told by police officers and city staff, and it just kind of put a burr under my saddle when they were doing all that.
Let me address the burr in two parts. First, regardless of our city ordinance and regardless of the special law, anytime a landowner, citizen, residential, commercial, tells a person directly, I don't want you on my property, that is notice under the criminal trespass law. Thereafter, if a person who has received notice continues to come back to that person's or business's property, I would recommend calling 911 because I think the elements are there for a violation of the Texas criminal trespass law. Apart from that, yes, sir, as with many things, when the state occupies a field and preempts cities from enacting regulations that even the public would want, the solution would be at the legislature.
Okay. Well, it's good to know that if they have been contacted and they don't want them back on their property, that there is an avenue to pursue that through our local legal system.
And I would add to that, Mayor, even with our regulation addressing that citizens can put on their doors or windows or where it's visible, no solicitation, that should be good enough too, to signal to anyone that would otherwise have a right to be on the property, don't come here.
Okay.
And if that person ignores that sign, they do ignore it at their peril.
Okay. All right. Well, I do appreciate your input as a couple of possible solutions to address that, so thank you for your input. I'll defer here. Does anyone from the council have a question relating to this particular matter? Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeff. All right, this concludes our first briefings. We'll now move along to public hearings. We do have several public hearings scheduled this evening. Item 1 is ordinance number 2024-032, rezoning an approximate 0.17 acre tract of land being part of Tract 35, W.H. Ector Headright Survey A-695, located at 1319 Richmond Road, from multiple family 1 planned development, general retail, to neighborhood service. Sundar Adhikari, owner, and Rita Johnson Williams, agent. At this time, I declare the public hearing item open on this particular agenda item. If there's anyone who would like to address the council, if you'll please come forward and state your name for the record. Okay, not seeing anyone coming forward at this time, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval of the ordinance? We have a motion by Councilmember Hart. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Page. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Texarkana, Texas, by rezoning on an approximate 0.17 acre tract of land being part of Tract 35, W.H. Ector HRS A-695, located at 1319 Richmond Road in the City of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, from multiple family 1 planned development, general retail, to neighborhood service, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ordinance passes. Item number 2 is ordinance number 2024-033, granting a specific use permit to allow the location of a daycare on the north half of lots 9 through 12 and part of the alley, block 55, Grandview, located at 1616 Iowa Street. Callie Donaldson, owner, and Stephanie Thompson, agent. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If there's anyone who would like to address the council, if you'll please come forward and state your name for the record. Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, how are you all?
Doing
I'm
fine.
Stephanie Thompson, with the interest of opening a daycare that was formerly known as Callie's Daycare on 1616 Iowa Street.
Okay, very good. You have any additional information to share with the council on this item?
Basically, I've had just going through getting my occupancy. So there are some upgrades that I'll be doing to that prior to, after you all's decision, which I,
Okay.
be looking forward to doing.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Any questions by the council? Okay, all right. Thank you for your time this evening.
All right, thank you.
Public hearing is still open. If anyone else would like to address the council on this item, if you'll please come forward. At this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval of the ordinance? Motion by Councilmember Hart. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Matlock. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning map showing the location, boundary, and use of certain property by the granting of specific use permit number S-786 to allow one additional use of a daycare on the north one-half of lots 9 through 12 and part of the alley, Block 55, Grandview, located at 1616 Iowa Street in the city of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. All right, the motion passes unanimously. Item number 3 is ordinance number 2024-034, rezoning an approximate 20.70 acre tract of land being part of tracts 9 through 12, 13, 17, 18, and 19. R.E. Survey, Headright Survey, A-523, located at 2300 Buchanan Road, from Single Family 1 to Planned Development. Commercial, Jeff Wright, LEISD owner, Robert Sanderson agent. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, if you'll please come forward and state your name for the record. Okay, not seeing anyone coming forward. At this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval of the ordinance?
So moved. Second. Take your pick.
D comes before P. So, motion by Councilmember Davis and a second by Councilmember Page. Is that okay? All right, very good. All right, Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Texarkana, Texas by rezoning on an approximate 20.70 acre tract of land being part of tracts 9 through 12, 13, 17, 18, and 19, R.E. Survey HRS A-523, located at 2300 Buchanan Road in the city of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, from Single Family 1 to Planned Development Commercial, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ordinance passes unanimously. All right. Item number 4 is ordinance number 2024-035, rezoning an approximate 4-acre tract of land, being tract 64, J.A. Talbot, Headright Survey, A-564, located at 5613 Richmond Road, from Single Family 1 to Planned Development, General Retail, Josh Morris, Morris Family LP owners, and Jason Bowling, Guggenheim Development Services LLC agent. At this time, I declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to come forward, please state your name for the record. At this time, I declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval of the ordinance?
So moved.
A motion by Councilmember Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Page. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Texarkana, Texas by rezoning on an approximate 4-acre tract of land, being tract 64, J.A. Talbot, HRS A-564, located at 5613 Richmond Road in the city of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, from Single Family 1 to Planned Development General Retail, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ordinance passes unanimously. Our final public hearing is related to the previous item. Ordinance number 2024-036, amending PD-24-1, General Retail, for site plan approval on an approximate 4-acre tract of land being Tract 64, J.A. Talbot Headright Survey, A-564, located at 5613 Richmond Road. Josh Morris, Morris Family LP owner, and Jason Bowling, Guggenheim Development Services LLC agent. At this time, I'll declare the public hearing open on this item. If anyone would like to address the council, please come forward. At this time, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Councilmember Davis, second by Councilmember Page. Ms. Evans, the caption, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Texarkana, Texas, amending PD-24-1 GR for site plan approval on a 4-acre tract of land being Tract 64, J.A. Talbot HRS A-564, Exhibit A, located at 5613 Richmond Road in the City of Texarkana, Bowie County, Texas, containing a repealer clause, containing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ordinance passes. So this completes our public hearings portion of the agenda. We'll now move along to the city manager's report. Dr. Orr?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a few updates to pass along to you tonight. First off, sales tax update. So as we head into our budget season, our sales tax receipts for the month of April, this is February sales, total a little over $1.6 million. That's an increase of 0.25% compared to the same month in the prior year. Our fiscal year to date collections have totaled a little over $8.6 million. That's a decrease of 3.63% overall compared to last year. And information that was sent out previously, this excludes our February adjustments, which was related to an energy sector company. So if you take that out, the total increase is about 1.5% compared to last year. Speaking of budget planning, we have completed most of our departmental meetings that are underway for the FY25 budget. And so we expect to finish up in the next 2 weeks on those budget meetings and have tentatively scheduled the following budget advisory meetings for Wednesday, May 8th at noon, Wednesday, May 15th at noon, and Wednesday, May 29th at noon. I want to get those dates in front of you tonight. We'll also follow up with calendar reminders if there's any conflicts with that. Of course, you're invited to attend all budget meetings, but especially the one with the joint council meeting on the 29th. We'll certainly be part of that. And then have a couple of save the dates. Tomorrow night is Texas Municipal League Region 15 meeting. That's in New Boston, Texas. And that'll start at 5:30 to 8. And then you mentioned, Mayor, earlier the joint city council meeting, so I won't mention that again with the airport. And then also in your packet tonight, we've included some information on our MyGov system that we launched last year, and just wanted you to have copies of these flyers as you get code requests and code updates for more information. Again, this is our one-stop shop reporting system for permits, for work orders, code violations, and much more. So encourage you to, and I have a bunch of copies as well if you'd like any after the meeting to hand out as well. That's all.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you, David. Good report. We'll now move along to administrative comments. Any comments from the council this evening? Just have one quick one I'd like to share. We have with us in the audience this evening Mr. Kelly Mitchell, and I wanted to share with everyone the news release has been already put out about this previously or recently, but Mr. Mitchell has been appointed as the president of the Sulphur River Basin Authority. This is an appointment that is made by the governor, and so Mr. Mitchell, congratulations on that appointment. And how long have you been on the Sulphur River Basin Board? 7th year. Okay, so we certainly appreciate your service to that very important board, and Kelly has his lovely wife Lisa with him this evening, and she has to put up with a lot, but anyway. So congratulations. Kelly also serves as a member of our Budget Advisory Committee. And so, Kelly, thank you for your service in that role as well. So we appreciate your service to the city. All right. Any other comments from the council this evening about anything? Okay, well, very good. So unless there's any further business brought before the council, if not, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. We have a motion by Councilmember Matlock and a second by Councilmember Page. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Oh, Darren, thank you for the annual reports from LifeNet. Appreciate that very much. Okay. All right, everyone, have a great evening.